Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crime and Entertainment. I have here a Detroit legend. Now, if any of you have seen any of the movies like White Boy Rick, you've seen his parts of his story because that's not all 100% accurate. And we're going to get into some of those mistruths that was put into that movie. But please welcome to Crime and Entertainment, Johnny Curry. Johnny, how are you, my friend?
Good. Good morning. I'm real good.
All right. Well, I'm glad you could stop by the show. I know you're a busy guy, so we appreciate you taking the time to come by and do this interview. You got a crazy story. You got a lot of branches to a lot of different people. You got ties with political people. You got ties with law enforcement. And I mean, you got a lot to unpack here. So, well, let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up? What area of Detroit did you come up in?
I grew up on the east side of Detroit, the Bewick, Mac area on the east side here, Cadillac. That's where I grew up, originated from.
Right.
I always stayed there, always.
Okay. Now you had a pretty big family, right? A lot of brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I think it was actually 9 brothers, 4 sisters.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big family. So when you're coming up, what was the landscape like in Detroit at the time? Was it populated with a lot of street gangs, or, you know, how rough was it coming up? I mean, Detroit's not an easy place to live. That's not for the weak.
When I first started coming, you know, had that Detroit riot there back then.
Yeah.
So that's when we was real small. We had that Detroit riot there. And after that, it was still always rough in Detroit to get a dollar because that's like a poor income family, and it was rough.
Yeah. Now, well, at what age did you kind of get introduced to the game and you get into, you know, involved in selling drugs? I mean, you started out with weed, correct?
Right. I started off with weed. I was probably about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old when we started off with weed. Followed my older brother's footsteps. He was dealing a lot of weed, marijuana. And we started from there, actually.
Okay. Now, did he kind of have his own little crew and you started working with him, or how does that work?
He basically had he didn't really actually, he had his own plug contacts. He was getting bales of it. He was getting bales. You know how back then it was coming in bales, and he was getting bales of it. So we started actually from him, and then he told us a little opening there. So we went from there. It actually was weed houses back then.
Yeah. So what was the quality of the weed back then? Was it pretty good?
Better than the weed they doing here. You had Thai stick, you had Colombian red, gold. Oh man, the weed to me back then is better than the weed they doing now. They had Thai stick. I mean, this Colombian. It was excellent. The weed was excellent back then. And the bags, when we made it, the bags are bigger. Now you get a 3-5 or a dime bag, you might get 1 blunt.
Yeah. Yeah. The quantities was a lot. The quality was a lot different too, but the quantities is a lot different, you know, back
right. That's true. Definitely.
Yeah. And I spoke to you about this off camera. We done an episode with a guy named Tim McBride, and that's what he was saying. He said the weed that they was bringing in for years until like after they kind of killed the cocaine cowboys, then they went after the weed guys because they weren't, you know, the number one priority. But after that, He said it kind of killed that weed connection, and it made the weed coming through, you know, way less potent after that when all them guys went down out there in the Everglades.
Right after they went down, yeah.
Yeah. So and you guys were dealing them some pounds at this state. You're bringing in by the pounds, or you said bales, but how many?
Yeah, my brother was bringing me in by the bales.
Okay. Well, how many pounds was that in the bale?
You figured, maybe 50 pounds in the bale.
50 pounds in the bale. Wow, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now, it wasn't long after that. How long did you do that before you got introduced to the Gambinos?
I did that for maybe, maybe 4 years, 3-4 years. And then I just wanted to elevate and move up. I wanted to get away from the weed game because it was actually more money in the coke and the heroin game. So I got away from that, left that with my younger brother, Boo. And then we went to the cocaine and heroin. That's when crackhead really just kind of came out.
Right.
They used to use that Don Q151 when they were smoking it like that.
Yep.
Yep. You go to the liquor store, buy your bottle of that Don Q.
Yeah.
And they was smoking like, that's when I was meeting a lot of guys out of that era. And they was really kind of messing with like that. Now it's totally different. I don't even think they use Don Q. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, not anymore.
Yeah, they just hit it in that pipe and cook it in and doing what they got to do.
Who did you guys meet with up there in the Gambinos? Y'all had a connection with somebody in the family, or
In connection with somebody in the family, like Carlos Gambino, actually.
right? Really, Carlo? Really?
Yeah, his
Wow.
father.
Okay.
I don't know which one it is now, because I don't know if his father probably dead and they
Oh
moved
yeah,
on.
his father. Yeah, Carlo's been dead a long time.
Right. The Gambino. I met him through actually my first wife. He was out of New York. He was a pimp out of New York. And he was tied in really, really real tight. So we went up there one night and visited him, stayed up there for about a week. And that's who introduced me to them. We took me over to the club and we met him like that there.
Wow.
Carlos Gambino.
Yep, he was a tough customer. When he died, he put in Paul Castellano as boss, which surprised a lot of people because they were expecting his underboss, Neil Della Croce, to come in.
Right, absolutely.
And
definitely.
that's when John Gotti made the power move and took out Paul in front of Sparks. And that was one of the key things that Sammy testified on when he wound up flipping to help put John away. I mean, he put a lot of murders on him, but that was the biggest one because it was, covered in all the news outlets when they took him out in front of Sparks. So now with this plug y'all were doing with the Gambinos, was this coke at this time or what was this?
This was heroin at this time.
So you stepped up to heroin. There's a lot more money coming in.
Actually, we stepped up to heroin. It was definitely a lot more money coming in with the heroin game. But you know what though? That's the difference between drugs now. Back then when you had to buy a key of heroin, you know how much a key of heroin, you can get the key now so cheap. Like I say, it was high.
Yeah.
Key of heroin. But I'm telling you what now, it was excellent. The best heroin you could get. This stuff they doing now with this, what is that, fentanyl shit?
Yeah.
This and this.
Killing everybody.
Killing them. So the heroin game back then was pure, excellent heroin.
Now, this would it be tied into anything that Frank was bringing in? Because he was a New York guy around that time.
No, it wasn't Frank. I only dealt with CC. His name, actually, the guy that I was dealing with is my first wife's uncle. His name was CC. He was a big, like I say, he was a big pimp in New York, but he knew everything in New York. He knew everybody in New York. So he the one, like I say, turned me on to the Gambino family. And then he actually was doing his thing too. So he would actually get it here. Back then, he'd get it here some kind of way. By being a pimp, he was bringing his, hate to say his girls bringing in.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are probably making some serious money now. Like, what was the lifestyle for you then? I mean, because you can't just go stick all that damn money in the bank. You got to find ways to blow it.
I was floating. Like I said, we was buying boats, cars, jewelry, furs, just living the lifestyle, enjoying life. Yeah, and that's what it's really all about, man. You got to enjoy life. Like you say, you're here today and gone tomorrow. Look at this epidemic that's going on now.
Yeah.
Look how many people died. So you try to live for the day. I mean, if tomorrow here, you promise that, so you keep moving.
And that's whatever you in. I mean, they ain't just got to be in anything, whatever aspect you're doing, whatever you're doing in your life, you got to do it. You got to enjoy it.
You can't take it with you.
Yeah, it don't matter if you got $5 or 5 million. When you gone, you gone. It ain't nothing.
When you gone. They gonna take about 9,000-10,000 to bury you. And you gone. And then make it so bad. When you gone, you really actually just like in jail. They were saying thing about life. When you're dead, you're gone, and in jail, another thing, people just run off. It just don't disappear. They don't think about you.
No.
Jail, so that's crazy. People.
You're absolutely right. Now at one point you actually tried or did take a trip over to Colombia and try to get a direct connect from a plug.
That's the best way to do it. Get your own straight. The best way to do anything is just any game. Have your straight own plug to be.
Yeah, not going through 4 or 5 middlemans.
Because then if you're going through 4 or 5 people, the next person, sometimes they slip in there and put their little hit on their whack, the extra money. But now one thing I do like, I'll let a person know straight up from this is what it might cost you a little more, but man, this is excellent. You don't have to put that stuff on there. Do whatever you're doing to it. I'm gonna get you at a price where you can allow your room for the next man. You have to try to allow that room for everybody to make $1. Be honest about it.
So how was that trip over to Colombia? Was that, nerve-wracking any, or it's pretty much just all business?
It was business, but it makes you nerve-wracking. It was all business, but it's still nerve-wracking because anytime you're flying out the country to try to, and you know what's on your mind, now the next person don't know what your motive is or whatever, but anytime you're flying anywhere, basically, I mean, you could be going to Florida because I've been to Florida a lot. And that's when you could smell the money was smelling like cocaine. But so anywhere that you go and you're trying to make business deals, you still be nerve wracking a little bit because it's very dangerous.
Okay. Now, was that successful? Did you find a direct plug from over there?
We found a direct plug from over there.
Okay. So now, business is probably really starting to pick up. Now, you were married first, but not long after that, you would meet your second wife. And
Yeah,
that would bring a lot of things into play for you.
That brought a lot of things into play then.
Now, I don't want to mispronounce her last name wrong. Was it Volson? Kathy Volson?
Kathy Volson, yes, it was.
Okay, you want to briefly tell us a little bit and our listeners about her and who it was her uncle, right?
It was her uncle, actually was the mayor. I met her through
first black mayor ever.
Yeah, and the longest served, only reason he, like to say, retired and got out of here because something like his health got kind of bad. But otherwise, you couldn't beat him. No, you couldn't go up against him and try to win with a fine-tooth comb. You couldn't get it. So they loved Coleman Young. They loved him to the day he died.
Yeah. Now she was, I've seen some pictures of her, when I was doing some prep and research for this interview.
Beautiful. That's what you're gonna say. She was beautiful.
Yeah, she was a very attractive girl, but I'm sure with her mayor, her uncle being the mayor, that didn't hurt matters either for you.
No, it definitely didn't.
Now, and then also we got to introduce a guy that a lot of people probably know if they've seen any of the Eddie Murphy movie, Beverly Hills Cops.
Yeah.
Gil Hill.
Gil Hill, yeah, he was. Matter of fact, he was like. Matter of fact, he was family too. Basically, it was like a team. Right. We was all like family. It wasn't all that crazy stuff. I tell you this, I tell you that. Or you do this, you do that. No, it was like a family thing.
So Gil, what was he? He was head over homicide, right?
He was inspector over homicide.
Okay, so at this point, you're with Kathy. You're rubbing elbows with the mayor, detective of homicide. One's got to either think you're crazy as hell or you're a genius.
You know what, to be honest, see, I was easing out of the game because I was going to try, actually myself, I was going to try to ease out of the game, get up under their wing, and I was going to do like Kwame, try to run as the mayor. So, I had eased out the game, eased back, let my twin brother took over my field, and I was going to try to ease in there and try to get to be the mayor of Detroit.
Okay,
I think I would have made it.
That was my next question. What was kind of your thought process here? Was it slow down or hammer down? So okay, so that was your aspirations to get in.
They wasn't, they wasn't gonna allow that. So actually, like I said, because when they came in and got me, that's when I ain't gonna never forget his name. He was the head of FBI, Kenneth Walton. He was the head man of FBI down there. He walked in and said, "It's over, Johnny. Coleman can't protect you now. Can't protect your aid now."
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Okay. I had got my gun permit, liquor license, all through that because I had got denied one time, and I guess Juanita was Kathy's mother that was Coleman's sister. So we went back and how you pick up a few votes, just like same thing as a president. They go in and talk to one of the Congress, the senators, and say, "Okay, well, we need that vote." So they needed that vote, and I actually got approved for my liquor license just before I went to prison.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there was a couple of times where that helped you because you told a story. I think it might have been on Vlad, but I've also seen it on the documentary White Boy, which we'll get into. You actually got pulled over and you had stuff with you.
I got pulled over. So I think might have been a kid in the car. And I made a phone call. And then I kind of brought up their name, and then he kind of said, "Curious." He said, "You the one married to Kathy?" He basically said it just like you married Kathy. I said, "Yeah, I'm married to Kathy." He said, "Oh, how you doing?" So we really got kind of cool, and basically I knew I was finna be gone, but he was cool. So I got actually Juanita on the phone. I called him. But I didn't let him know that I was dirty or anything. Like I just said, "Yeah, that's Kathy's mother, Juanita. That's Coleman's sister." So actually we did that, and then he said, "Oh, you all right? You want me to take you in or anything?" I said, "No, I'm good." He didn't know actually I was dirty, but he felt it. It might have been.
He kind of had an intuition probably. But
I'll say that he had an intuition that I was dirty.
But once you drop that name, then that's just
that's absolutely right. Because like I said, I was at Skateland one time, and I had my little big two guns on me legally, So when they pulled me over up there, me and my wife, and they were saying, oh yeah. And I said, I got a CCW, you know what I'm saying? And the other guy, one of the other officers, I guess he was a little hot about it. He said, yeah, that's Coleman them people. So ain't nothing but they gonna get your ass. You know, excuse that, but they gonna get you. They gonna get you.
Now, and was it with you, or I know at some point they said that the mayor even had like a detective, basically I want to say a task force, that might be overstepping it.
Right.
A security detail on y'all. Is that true?
He had a security detail on his niece, Kathy.
Right.
But when I came in the picture, you didn't need that security detail no more. I was a security detail.
Right, you brought your own security.
Yeah, there you go. I brought my own security.
All right. So at what point does Rick Wershe enter the picture? And that's to everybody that's seen the movies and the documentaries, and anybody probably related with your story, they're going to know him as White Boy Rick. When does he enter the story here?
Actually, I met him through my younger brother, Boo. When he came into actually the picture, they was actually Boo and him was all doing it. Ken, matter of fact, a little guy named Ken, it was one of my right-hand guys. They all actually twined together. He never really twined with me or my brother, but he was always around my younger brother, so I couldn't stop my younger brother from telling him who you supposed to hang around, or we never knew that he was actually eventually came. I wouldn't say at the time was working for him, but he eventually came in the picture and decided to want to do his own thing. And him and his father, he was doing a lot of electrical work for me up at my club at the Holiday Hall. And then next thing I know, I had a couple of houses. I had a big condo downtown. I had a huge condo that I had got from going to Coleman's family. Matter of fact, I stayed next door to, he was the chief judge downtown, Tommy's promoter, right in that area. Beautiful condo down there.
Okay. Now, did Rick, did he grow up near where you grew up, on the same street or something like that?
Basically, you say, yeah, we grew up there because we was all on the east side right there.
Right.
Dickerson, Chalmers area. We basically, same area, basically.
Right. Now, you said you mentioned his father. Y'all actually started off dealing guns, because anybody that's seen the movie, his father was an arms dealer. Did y'all buy guns from his father originally?
Right. We was after we met Rick, they did have that part was kind of thing. He brought the guns in. Then his father was making all that other kind of illegal guns. So he actually was getting silencers, and that's what we really wanted was those silencers. Because you don't hear nothing but you don't hear firecracker with that silencer.
Right.
You can go in the club, do what you had to do. I ain't trying to entice young guys what to do, but you can go in the club that silencer with the music going, and you just see somebody laying on the ground. So when nobody be screaming and hollering and running.
Yeah,
but
nobody knew.
Going in with them Uzis and stuff is different. But back then, you could go take care of your business or whatever you had to do. But we was getting actually silencers from them.
Okay. Now, then he's kind of introduced to the fold, and obviously he's got a story in itself. But the documentary that they done, White Boy, by I think it was Seth Ferrante and Scott Bernstein, I think had a little something to do with that.
Yeah, I think they fired. But matter of fact, Scott Bernstein tried to straighten out the movie and let them know, no, it wasn't this way, wasn't this way.
Right.
But they wanted to assume and make it the way they wanted it to be. And they got rid of Scott. They gave him a certain amount of money to start off because Scott knew a lot of people, but eventually they got rid of Scott.
Right. Now, he had more to do with the actual documentary, right? The documentary was White Boy. The movie was White Boy Rick. So he had a little bit more to do with the documentary, I think, than the actual movie. Because like you said, Hollywood, and that's what I'm about to get into, Hollywood changed a lot of things in there for whatever the reason. And that, like you said, Scott was kind of telling them, hey, this is how it went down. And I don't know if it just didn't play into their vision or what they wanted or whatever. And they kind of, booted him on out the way. But
exactly what happened. That's definitely what happened. So I don't have to tell you, bro, that's exactly what happened.
Now, like we said, a lot of that was fabricated. What was Rick's role like when he come around in the beginning, and then how he rose up? You tell us from your perspective, what was, Rick's role in your family, your organization in Detroit? Because, and you said this in some of your interviews, and I'm in no way trying to bring race into this thing, but it's hard. Right. Like you said it, it's hard to imagine that a young 16-year-old white kid is going to be running stuff in a neighborhood predominantly
black neighborhood. That's just like me going out to a white neighborhood, a black person going out to try to run a predominantly White hood, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just be realistic about it. It ain't gonna happen. But people liked him because he was around my family. So they respected me. So they respected him. Not in a bad way that he was come in running nothing. No, he didn't come in and run anything. You know, is that just something that ain't, like I said, I'm not a racist person. That just ain't gonna happen. Come on, think about it.
Yeah.
You're a white guy, you come down in Detroit, all blacks, and you think you're gonna come in and let you come on now, they've been to rob you. Not hate to say it, like they've been to rob you, set you up, doing everything. So come on, that's just using common sense to tell you that.
Right. So I mean, when you met him, did y'all kind of school him, put him to work? Was he doing any?
Yeah, him and my brother was together. They kind of got to work on him and my younger brother Boo, like I say, was together. They kind of got to doing their own little thing. It was just really just selling some crack, little stuff like that, basically weed or whatever. That's all. They got into their own little private thing. It didn't, his role didn't come out after I left, basically, when he became whatever, you know, start getting a little money or whatever. When I was there, it wasn't nowhere near just like they was explaining about the wedding. I didn't even get married in Detroit. I got married in Cincinnati. I got married in Ohio. Wow. There was never a wedding at the mayor's mansion. They invited this person to it. He was there and he walked all through the mansion and all that. That was impossible. Coleman wouldn't even allow that. You couldn't just walk through his private. And he was a real private person too, and he was watching because he kept his eyes on me, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, so you know, you got to understand that he just didn't walk through the mansion and go into a private room where they showed it. But I understand Hollywood dramatizes stuff and put it more than what it is, and it wasn't nothing like that. We never got married, you know, at the mayor's mansion. Only thing we had at the mayor's mansion was my son's baby shower down there.
Okay, and then they dramatized they dramatized the fight too. What was
the fight? They dramatized the fight. I make it so bad that what they really dramatized in the fight. When I got up and suppose he had hit I'm trying to think. I suppose he had hit him. I never drank. I never smoked weed. I never smoked nothing. And he said I got up and got mad hit. I was in the fight right there. I mean, from here to me and you watching the fight with Thomas Hearns. He was, you know, he wasn't even there. And then I told him when I went to the Mob Museum in Vegas, that's when the FBI agents was there too. Said Johnny, he was never at the fight. I don't know where they dramatized that he was at the fight with me, or he was never in Vegas. He was there, he was with the feds, not with Johnny. Because the only one went to the fight was me, actually my wife, my twin brother, another couple of guys was with us at the fight. He was never at the fight. Him or Don. Like I said, if they was there, I never seen him.
Wow. Yeah,
they dramatized real crazy. But I mean, like I said, I couldn't say nothing about it. But actually, the guy that played me, he said that if they would have come to me, maybe they would have got more out of the detail. But they was doing a little cheap, I guess, movie or whatever, and then dramatizing more than what it really was.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot, man. A lot of movies, when you go and you read a book or you hear stories from actual people, Hollywood has a tendency to do that a great deal, change things.
And I understand Hollywood, like I told him, I understand Hollywood, but sometimes when you put it out there so bad, it looks bad later on up in life when it comes to the action. Now you actually got to the real person that do it. And I'll tell anybody and dispute anything. It was never the way they had put it about. He came to the mayor's mansion. He flew to Vegas with me. He did this. Me and Rick might have seen each other not as much. He hung around, like I say, he hung around my younger brother, Boo. He knows more about that than I do.
Right.
He was never really up under me like one of my bodyguards or one of the guys that worked it directly with me and nothing like. He was too young. Mm-hmm. But he tried. And I don't knock anybody. A white boy came around and like I said, I'm not discriminative about anything. So cool, come on, hang.
Yeah.
We had fun.
Yeah. Now at some point he actually gets shot. Now,
yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, he got shot.
Well, he did get shot. Now he
got shot. Definitely got shot because he wore a bag on his side.
Oh, right. For what, a couple months or something like that, or
yeah, something like that. He wore a bag.
Okay. So now in the movie, they try to portray that as
that I hit him.
You made a phone call because was it you had suspected at that time he could have been an informant?
That's what they say. Yeah,
Right.
let's put it like that. Yeah,
Now, but you didn't have anything to do with that.
definitely not.
Did you know at the time, or did you even suspect that he was a rat?
Let me explain something to you. And they hit it on file. This is what made me mad about Channel 4 with. Y'all got the documentation right there on test, and y'all knew what was going on basically. And that him and the guy, and matter of fact, I can say his name because John will stand up and prove it. Actually, him and John, they was at the house and the gun went off.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, that John, because this is what happened. So you can go back and see this. It's all in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They family sued the insurance company because the gun went off at John's family house. John had to go to court on that thing, and they sued, and he don't have a problem backing that. The gun went off in a shot Rick, but at the time the movie made it like as though I walked in and I made a phone call and somebody came in the door and his sister or whoever ran downstairs and the gun and shot Rick. Like, as though like I had a contract or had a hit on him or something. That was never true. This really, but it made my image look bad. That's what
right.
I was real pissed off about it. And I wanted to get on there, but it made me look bad, like I'm targeting this white guy or any guy.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
so,
that's what I'm saying. It's bad enough. I mean, in that business, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I'm not asking you to divulge anything you have done, but you definitely don't want something that you didn't have anything to do with on there. That's just worse.
That's what made it so bad. Something that I never had nothing to do with. And then you put it up there in the movie as though like I made the call and that's when he got shot. And they know for a fact that what happened. They interviewed everybody. They sued the insurance company, got a lump sum out of the insurance company, and it went from there. And that's exactly what happened. Wow. And they know it. They got it on thing down there. They know Johnny had nothing to do with that.
And, well, ultimately, you know, it's obviously widely known now that he was an informant, and that he did provide a lot of information on you, which led to your arrest. But everything that you had built up until then, I'm sure you were already on the radar.
You know what, though? Actually, that's why I really can't fault. I mean, you fought him as being a rat and snitching and helping out, but I was already on the radar.
Right.
Basically. And I actually, excuse me, I knew I was on the radar. For a fact, when I married her, actually, when I got in there and started marrying her, and I married Coleman's niece, they know hey, I hate to say this black guy, he on the rise now. He's been to move on up because I got my gun permit. I got my brother a gun permit. I got one of my partners a gun permit. Then I filed for my liquor license. So they looking at now. I had bought a limousine service. I was doing actually a limousine service out of the Holiday Hall. I had remodeled. I spent maybe like $250,000 remodeling the Holiday Hall, fixing up. So I had my limousine service there. And at that time, they knew I knew I was on the radar because I was buying all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you bought a big yacht, right?
Yeah, we had a big yacht. I got pictures of that yacht. Oh, it was nice.
The car. Talk about that car you had.
Yeah, the Berliner, the one I went.
Yeah.
You know what? I was just telling the guy that I'm down here in Chicago with. I drove all the way to Pompano Beach, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Me and my brother, my first wife, we pulled it down there on my father's pickup truck. It was a vet. It was actually a vet, and we pulled it down to a customized company down there and had it converted over into the one. And when I brought it in Detroit, they didn't even know what the police pulled me over one day and said, "We don't want no thing. We just want to know what it is." That's the most beautiful car I'd ever had. Then when I married, got with Kathy, they made me get rid of it.
Probably bringing too much out.
All that drama. Like you said, I was already on the radar then.
Right. Now you actually didn't you find out your phones was tapped and other stuff around this time?
We had a big car lot on actually right there on the corner of 16 Mile and Gratiot. That's where I met a guy named Scott. He introduced me to a lot of powerful people too that was in that field. They wanted me to start getting stuff from a land, actually when they was going to land. At that time, you could land the dope. They was getting packed with these planes and come in and set it up. So that's actually where I went into the car business when I got to Berlin. It was getting 2-seater Sevilles. They never had that around here. 2-seater Seville Berlinas.
Yeah, because in that time, Detroit, I mean, it has some powerful players. I mean, what you had, Young Boys Inc.
Yeah, Young Boys.
Tony Down Gang.
Tony Down.
Chambers Brothers, Just Friends.
You had actually, just before then, you still had Eddie Jackson, the Garrett brothers all downtown. You had the big wheels down there. They was all in that dope game.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot of Detroit had some powerful people,
There's
you
some
know,
powerful people there.
in
Yeah.
his hierarchy. Now, when you ultimately did go down, how did that happen? How did they pull that off on you?
I guess you like to say with the help of, I ain't just saying him, because he had the help of others. I'm not disputing that. But eventually when we was just doing this and getting all this money and then when I married the marriage, I knew the heat was gonna come down then when especially or he going political now, basically. Then I had the contacts with Gil Hill. I had the contacts with a high-powered sergeant. He was a matter of fact, Jimmy Harris, he was a top flight in there. Marty Farrar, she was a top because they busted them all them at the airport with Kathy's father. Actually, one key and the rest of the whatever it was, 200 keys was great, but they had to have one original key there to make it look. This is like if I take one key and paid it with 200 keys and I find a drop of one in there, it's still considered to be 200 keys.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that would, because he beat his first case. I mean, not beat it. He actually had a mistrial by Kathy's father because they brought it in that the feds was after his daughter, because she was in rehab really when they went down there and kind of tricked her. Basically, they did trick her. If I go to you and you got a daughter in rehab trying to get off of drugs and the feds come in and say, well, here goes some drugs, here goes some money. So they got her to bring her father into the picture to actually, and that's how they set that deal. But Rick never met Jimmy. Rick never met Gil. He never seen Coleman.
Wow.
He never seen any of them people. But he went through Kathy, and Kathy really is the one that was making all the arrangements. Kathy was almost just as powerful as me, and more deadly than me.
Yeah, and
I can't speak on that, but she was just as dangerous as me.
Yeah, he claims, I think one of the claims that he made, but I do think this was actually from him, a claim he made, not something that was in a documentary, that he was with you and there was a phone call made when, what's the guy's name? Lucas, when his, what was it, little brother or something like that got shot?
Yeah.
He claims that you made a phone call to Gil Hill and
right.
to basically cover up that murder of that young man.
And you know what? That's all false. He was never, do you actually, just like I said, he was a young kid. He hung with my brother. If that would have happened, do you think I would have actually made a phone call in front of him?
It does not make sense.
And smarter person than I am, I would make a phone call in front of you and you could be my right hand. To disclose that kind of information, come on, that's a murder. That just don't never go, that's a life thing. Murder never disappear, has no time limit on it.
Yeah, they could come get you right now for it if they wanted to, if they had something to tell you.
If I had did it.
Yeah.
But they, like I said, at the mob museum, they mentioned they knew Johnny didn't have nothing to do with that. They knew for a fact that he had nothing to do with that. For what? So I'm gonna make a phone call in front of him and say, okay, well, if I talk to Gil, I would go down to 19, it was called what, 1900 Bogey, and then that's when their headquarters, his office was down there, because I'd go up in there like I was one of the chief inspectors or something down there and go in his office or something. But no, he was never around me to make a conversation. Like I said, it was all built up drama, just like the thing at the wedding at the mansion. That's all built up drama. He might have said it, but he was never with me. And certain stuff that he had to say in his movie, they added it on and he went with it.
Yeah.
So they added that on and he went with it.
Yeah. So what day did you actually get arrested?
Almost April Fool's Day. I ain't gonna never forget it.
Why did they pick that day?
I was in my office. Matter of fact, at the Holiday Hall. That's when I told you the head of homicide came in and said, "It's over, Johnny. You can Coleman can't protect you now. This is the G-man. You know, he wanted a little bull crap. G-man, that's government man.
Yeah.
We got you now." So then I called Steve Fishman. I left the hall and told my secretary to watch things till I got back. I didn't see her for another 14 years.
Now, Steve Fishman is quite a character. He was pretty much Detroit's underworld lawyer, huh?
You know what? Honestly, I could say that. He was like Detroit's underworld.
Yeah, because I think there was a documentary I watched that Al Prophet did, and this was before I had even ever planned to do an interview with you, and he was just talking. It was about Fishman himself, and he was talking about all the people that he had represented. I was like, God, it seemed like if anybody was in the game at that point, and you knew some shit was about to happen or some charges about to come down, Steve was the guy you went to.
Steve is the guy I went to. Steve is the one who got all my vehicles back, because they took maybe one time about 10 vehicles from me. Steve went down there took him about a month, but then he said, you can go get him. So we all went down there and got him. He took my jewelry, everything, but Steve got it back.
Wow. So he was a smart cat.
He was smart, but then he knew they had me. And he said, Johnny, listen, I ain't gonna beat all these charges. Now I'm gonna beat some, but they got too many people telling on me. Even the women, some of the women, not actually my personal women, but women that was doing boosting for me, stealing a lot of fur coats and stuff. They was all telling on me. It was quite a few people telling on me. So I said, Steve, well, let's not playing, but let's just work it. See what the bet, because I pleaded guilty to it. First they tried to give me 40, then it came with 30. Then they finally came, it's scared because I said, I can't go trial. They're gonna put me away for the rest of my life. They wanted me that bad.
Yeah.
And then they came to me, asking me questions about Coleman, about the kookarons that my wife supposedly had hid. It was some gold kookarons out of Africa.
Yeah.
See, because Coleman had a lot of, he was, like I say, he was strong. He was powerful. He was very, and his right-hand man was actually Blanchard in. He was the governor then. Him and Blanchard was like brothers.
So what did you eventually wind up pleading to? And that's something I want to clarify real quick. For people that ain't never been in legal trouble, copping a plea is not cooperating. Copping a plea is just basically taking your time and not going to trial, because if you go to trial,
you get life.
They could give you 40, well, your case life, but yeah, you can get a lot more time. I know a few people that's went to trial, like they offered him, one guy I knew, he had a drug charge and they offered him 10 years. Well, for whatever reason, he took it to trial. He wound up getting 25.
I tell you what, but he out now, but as Kwame, they made it off, trust me. I've been there, I know. They're gonna come to you with a plea.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to spend all the money, but they gonna find you guilty.
Oh yeah.
So when they came to me and Fishman said, Johnny, the best I can get you is 20. He said 10 to 20. I didn't have to tell on nobody. I didn't have to ask about where I got it. All I had to do was tell you my action that I do. I told him I ran a continual criminal enterprise, which is one of the charges. And I made a substantial amount of money that I didn't report. That's the tax charge. Right. As far as me going in and saying this person was this and that, I would have went on and got to life. I'm not going in and telling on nobody. That's one thing I ain't gonna do. It's not so much just being truthful for the game. I mean, I'm not telling on nobody. I don't care what you did. That's out. So when people try to use that excuse that Rick said this or the government got it, listen, they got 15, 14-year-old guys out there right now that doing stuff. That don't mean just because you are 15 years old that I'm gonna tell. I'm not gonna do that. That's just out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Frank Lucas. He went back. I mean, I respect him, did everything he did. You went right back and told on the people that was kind of protecting you, the police officers and everything. Because one shot itself, that's to try the movie win. But yeah, I just ain't gonna tell on nobody. That's just ain't my thing, ain't my makeup.
And that's one reason why I wanted to do this interview, because I respect the hell out of that. Matter of fact, this shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah, stop glorifying. There you go. Stop glorifying rats. Beautiful.
Yeah. That's
matter of fact, you better send me one of them. Do like Gunner, send me one of them shirts.
I will. Matter of fact, I'm putting it out in my clothing line. I got a clothing line that's dropping in March, and I got some stuff with my Crime and Entertainment logo, and this is gonna be one of them. And I got a few other ones, so I'll get you info and I'll send you one for sure.
Yeah, definitely send me one.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing is I've heard people say, well, he was gonna tell on me, so I was gonna tell on them. If you can do that, then that's you. You got to live with that. But that's just not how it's supposed to be. I mean, Sammy the Bull started a lot of that shit up there, and his whole explanation was, well, John was kind of pinning everything on me. That's the life. I mean, you in that life, that's part of the, the replay.
That's what I was trying to tell Black. That's exactly where I was going with it on Blab TV. I said, you can't justify a rat as a rat. You can't justify that. And then I think I hit a few things with a Gunner about this. Gunner, they can't go back and say, oh, he was a kid and they did it. You still got your mind. You decided at 15, that's what you wanted to do. Yeah.
If you at 15 years old, you're being able to buy a car cash and you're hanging out with people that
Yeah, you know whether you right or wrong.
You got all that money. You know that shit can come with some consequences.
Definitely. You know, just like I knew what I was doing could come with consequences. Everything that you do come with consequences.
Yeah, everything. It don't matter if you're speeding. You can get it.
Yeah, they come with consequences.
Yeah. So you had to pay Fishman. I'm sure he wasn't cheap. You had to pay him a good bit of money.
Come on now, Fishman ain't cheap now.
and now that's a hard pill to swallow, to have to pay a guy and still know you're gonna go away and do a good stretch of time.
But you got to respect. If you get that life off me,
You never
at that
coming
time,
out.
like I said, I was young. I could go in and do 10, 15 years and come out still feeling young. But like I said, at the time, if you could get that off me, Fishman, I ain't got to do the rest of my life. Otherwise, I'd still be sitting there now. When I had this conversation with you, I'd still be sitting up in there, couldn't get a dime. People don't send you money. It just, when you're in jail, it's just another thing being in the grave.
No, absolutely.
How
old were you? I want to clarify that because you just mentioned, you know, go in, do the stretch, and still come out with a lot of your life left.
At the time, at the time when I went to jail, I was 26, 27, 28 years old when they finally gave me the sentence.
28 years old. Now, this was Fed time that you had to take.
Yeah, it was a whole federal case. Everything was federal.
Okay. Now, how was that as opposed to, I mean, I've heard state prisons are a lot worse, but.
It was sweet, like I was on the street. I went up in there and started running things.
So that's what I was going to ask. Did your clout carry over inside? Because you're a big name, especially around there. You know, did your clout kind of carry over inside? And you kind of pick up where you left off?
When I got in prison, I kind of, like I said, enjoyed it. They treat me like a king in there.
I've heard people say that.
I got a little dirty in there, to be honest. That's over with now. I got a little dirty and I had a little few things coming in there, doing what to do, just to, you know, to respect it. Everybody knew I could make stuff happen. So you just, like I said, you can make stuff happen. I made a few things happen in there.
Right. I mean, it's prison. Prison's prison. It's not the Hilton, but you know, you got to make the best of the situation you're in. Like
there you go. You make the best of such a bad situation, because one time I was in there, like I say, they didn't never get me, but they got one of my guys, right? And he locked me up in the hole for a year.
Wow.
Nobody, I wouldn't tell, I wouldn't say nothing, but
a year.
It's always a way. Sometimes you got more drugs. I'm to be honest, but you got more drugs in the prison than some of it than you do on the streets here.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs in prison. A lot of people don't realize that. You were in the hole for a year.
I was in the hole for a year.
Holy
the warden didn't even know I was down there that long.
He forgot.
He forgot I was there.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Now, there's a TV show. I'm sure you probably looked at it. It's called The Wire. You ever seen it? HBO?
The Wire?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Wire, yeah.
Avon makes a statement in there, and I like to get this you know, response from people whenever they've done a strong stretch in prison. Avon says you only do 2 days, the day you go in and the day you come out. Now, while that may sound good, that ain't the truth. You got to do the middle. But mentally, how do you prepare yourself for doing that and shut off the outside world? Because a lot of things happen while you were in there. You know,
I'm gonna tell you the best way to shut off the outside world. I met an older guy when I was in prison. He said, Johnny, what you can't control, you inside a prison now. He pulled me to the side and said, what you can't control, you can't worry about, because you got guys in there worry about their woman, worry about what's going on, who she dating. You have to come here, focus your head on doing this time. I mean, it's not like you got forever in here. I went in there and took that approach. Plus I was doing a few, like I said, a little crazy stuff on there. And I'm telling you, my time that I did was like a catwalk. Wow. I needed, but you know, honestly, I needed the vacation. It was long life, made me a vacation, because like you in the street, you got to watch the police. You got to watch the guys that's sticking you up. You got to watch your friends closer than your enemies, because the only one can get to you is a friend. Yeah. Enemy don't know how to get to you or get by you. So you got to watch your friends closer than your enemies.
Wow,
So I went in there, like I say, kept my mind focused on that, worked out a little bit. I did all calisthenics, no weight, basically nothing but calisthenics, and went in there. Next thing you know, I was coming down here. They call going uphill and coming down. So as I was going uphill, it got to even seem like easier when I was coming down the hill. It was just going past.
Well, now on your way up the hill, karma kind of knocks a little bit though for the guy to help put you in there, because Rick winds up going to jail also. What, about a year or so after you were inside?
I was inside when he went to jail. Matter of fact, I definitely was inside, because actually they raided my condo. He had left my condo. Supposedly they saying that they trailed him from my condo.
Right.
Now that's the story. They trailed him from my condo. I guess when him and actually a guy named Roy Grissom, that was like actually my brother, almost like my brother-in-law, you know, was together. And so actually when I was going to prison, getting my time, they tried to bring a few things up on it about him and my wife at the time that I was in prison. But yeah, that was what all that was about though. So it's not a big thing.
So how did that make you feel to know that Rick, went down, that it was a little
I can't say that
satisfaction?
I was proud because I'm not proud or happy because anybody goes to prison. I wouldn't work prison on my worst enemy.
Right.
Like I say, he made that bed, he had to lay in it. So trust me, they gave him, and everybody be talking about life without parole. My car charges are 848, a continuum criminal enterprise, a CCE. Come on now, mine's carried life without parole, but I wasn't that smart. I wasn't stupid enough to say, well, I'm gonna go fight these. I got money to fight him, I'm gonna beat him. And Fishman was smart. He came and said, Johnny, I can't beat them all. He straight up said, I ain't gonna beat all these charges, but they're gonna hit you from here to there. Take this 20 and let's go.
Right.
Like I said, when they went, I almost kissed the judge again until we go. I needed the vacation.
Now, and that's kind of what we talked about earlier. You've been quoted as saying, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if Rick was a drug dealer, he was a 2, and you were probably what, 8, 9?
Almost a 10. I said 10, man.
Okay, 10. So that's the difference. And you go in and you wind up doing, you get that 20 years, but you do 14. Rick was a 2, and because he didn't take that plea deal and he went to trial, well, hell, he just got out, about a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, he was the longest serving inmate for a nonviolent crime in Detroit.
Yeah, but see, the nonviolent crime at the time, just like charges coming along, just like marijuana and all them. At the time, if you carried anything on what was a 650, they called it the 650 law. You know about it.
Yeah.
Anything over 650 grams is considered as life.
Automatic life.
So it wasn't like that they charged him because he was that young. That was the law.
Yeah.
650 was automatically life without parole. You went and told on people, and then they would have given you probably a nice time. Probably would have went in. Then he started a little ring when he was over in Florida. That's why I went to Florida and did that time. He started try to do a little something inside the joint on the outside. But Florida wasn't letting him go and ride there with that. Just like every state, if they don't want you to ride, but they want their time too.
Yeah, because at one point, I think before he went in, there was an assassination attempt on him.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Well, what's the Boone?
Yeah, Boone is supposed to have sat on top of the courthouse. Come on, let's be a little realistic about it. If you're a professional, judge, try to say something, because Boone even tried to say that Gil supposedly said, well, don't mess with the Curry boy because that's my family. Or something. Right. That's all correct. Boone really boosted that up and boomed that up himself. You see, he didn't even play a part in the movie.
I seen that. I noticed that.
Look at that. Notice what the movie was. He got mad. We was all at the premiere. He came in and kind of cussed him out a little bit, almost like what Don did. They never played one part of the movie. It was all just like a stunt. Boom, didn't, come on, hit at the courthouse. You got to think about this. I mean, I'm not trying to show a person how to do it. If drug dealer, you got a lot of power. I hate to say this, but you call in professionals. Why would I have people here to make a hit and he take them to the next person, everybody talking? So you bring them in from out of town. That's almost like that other movie. I'm trying to think of the movie. They brought them in. So they bring them in.
Well, they did that a lot in the Sopranos show. If they had a hit they wanted to do in the Sopranos, they would bring them in from Italy. That way they had no affiliation.
There you go.
They do it, and then before the body drop, they on a plane back across the water.
They already had their stuff here though, but they bring them back in. But once you do something here, you're gonna talk about it to this friend, you're gonna talk about friend, this girl gonna hear about it. The next you know, everybody's jammed up.
Yeah.
So if that was a professional hit, come on, you don't listen, a professional hit, you don't miss. I don't pay you to miss.
Exactly. And I think he even was saying something about one time they pulled up beside him with a van and tried to open up a van and the Mac 10 jammed or something like that.
Right. Matter of fact, my brother-in-law was in the car with him.
And okay, so he was driving.
Right. Boone. Okay, so just to show you purpose, that Boone has a baby by his sister.
Wow.
Now put that down. Has a baby by his sister. Come on now, let's be realistic about this stuff. Some things be realistic and some things just fabrication.
Right.
So
how long did you wind up doing total?
Actually 14 years. Because I didn't want to take what's that, halfway house.
Right.
So I went and did it. I said, no, I don't want no halfway house. So I just want to go straight home. So I went straight home, actually to my brother Boo.
Okay. So you're doing 14 years, you come out. How is life different from, I mean, that's a long time. There's a lot of advances in technology. what was the biggest adjustment you had to make coming home?
When I first came home, I said, man, a phone, what? Because at the time we had bag phones. See,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
phone,
trying to say. That's what I said in the movie too. How could Rick had run around me? He never came out. I had bag phones, little carrying phones you pick up. They got to go from mobile operator to mobile operator. Come on, think about it.
Yeah.
You had to go through satellite to a mobile operator. Sometimes you wouldn't even get a call. That's on the right time, and a lot of operators wasn't working at the time. So I did it 14, like I said, came home, relaxed, and chilled.
See, and that's the thing is you came out, you done that 14, and you can come out with your head high like a man because you didn't tell on nobody. And you could have, but you didn't.
I did.
That's the thing is there's people that still wind up doing time. Well, Rick, for an example, I mean, ratted on people and done a lot of time, but it's like if you're gonna do that time, why you want to bring somebody else down?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you all in the same game for the same reason.
Right. Then it's so much as watching your back. I don't want to be turning around saying this and that or turn around.
Exactly. You can walk down the street and not have to worry.
Yeah, so that's life. You don't want to do. I don't want to do that, and I'm not gonna do. I just would. But they came to me now. They said it too. When I did that interview at the Mine Museum, they came up to mine. And matter of fact, not the Mine. I was in Arizona then. They came up there and tried to get me to tell, like I said, on Coleman about the Cucarons.
Right.
They wanted him so bad, they just wanted to get him out of there, put anything on him. Wow. And I told him, I don't know. I asked the warden, because the warden's powerful in the joint. I said, warden, if they want to talk to me, they better get me out of here on with that warden. They can go to whatever, get me out of the prison. I don't want them here no more than the Lord, and the warden can allow that. He don't want to see you. It's time to go. That's how powerful they is. They run that joint.
Yeah, and like we said, that's something to be said about being able to come out and still walk around the streets that you went away from with your head up and not have to worry about who's coming in behind you, because you done right by the code of the street. You didn't tell on nobody.
So how can people go around and justify this snitching stuff? That's crazy. Oh, he did this. He was a snitch. He was a baby. I'm not trying to download him anything. I just ain't gonna do it for me and nobody. It don't even have to be him. It could be anybody that goes in prison. But you had to go telling this and telling that. Then you're supposed to be glorified. Then all these lies that you made up on me about, like you say, that I had him shot, I had him killed, and Boone did this and Boone did that. You never know the mayor. You never knew Gill. You never knew Coleman. You never knew any of them officers in Coleman and none of them. You never even met. Matter of fact, you never even met Kathy's father. Kathy set that all up.
Wow.
So where did all this come from? About this wedding and this, you was in Vegas with me. It was, but if they'd came to me and offered me the right money, now I might have made a deal and then could have heard the real side of the story. Just like right now, it's always two sides to every story.
Exactly.
So now you got the head story up front from me.
Yeah. And that's
from the horse's mouth. Let's put it like that, from the horse's mouth.
Exactly. And that's what we want to do. And I can't emphasize enough, like we said about the shirt, I got into some trouble one time when I was little, and it was before I was 18, and me and another guy was together. And now this guy had already been in some trouble before that. Mm-hmm. So they knew that I was involved, but they didn't know he was involved. Right. And so they had an idea, but they couldn't prove it. And they said, look, we don't even want you. We know he's a bad guy. We want to put him away and get rid of him, send him up the road. And I knew that his life would have turned out really, really bad had I named him. And I knew that it wasn't even nothing serious. It wasn't a big thing. I'm not going to name his name because he's still around and his family.
Right, because I got a few names I can name right now. They're still around. You'd be surprised. Matter of fact, he's a top singer. He was big in that weed game. I can't say his name, but he was big in that weed game.
But ultimately, I didn't name the guy's name. And I had to play a little fine and have some probation, but that was it. And I felt like it kept that dude from his life being in a worse position than it would have been had I named him. And either way, I'd have probably still got the same shit. I might have not had to pay a fine, but I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of money. And at that point, as crazy as it was, even though I got in trouble, I came away with a sense of pride knowing that I didn't keep that guy. I didn't get that guy in trouble.
Right. You didn't tell on nobody. So that's a definitely sense of pride.
It's a
stand up to.
Yeah, it's a good feeling that if you're not involved in anything like that, that you can't wrap your mind around it. So some people get it and some people don't.
Right, that's true. Definitely.
And I mean, I've always been hustler type, people confuse hustler and drug dealer a lot. You know, drug
Yeah,
dealers sell
that's
drugs,
true.
hustler sells anything. It don't
Oh,
matter
ain't no
what difference
doubt.
what it is.
He gonna get a dollar some kind of way.
Yeah. And like, so we would all go to the drag strip around my way where I was at, and there would be guys out there. This is like the cutting edge of CDs being burnt. And there would be
Right.
guys at the drag strip that would have CDs before they ever hit the stores. So like
Okay,
2 weeks
yeah.
before they hit the store. So I would get my CDs from them, and then I would burn them and sell them to everybody at the school.
Right. That's part of the hustling game.
And then by the time anybody else that did it, because there was other people that did it too, by the time they did it and got it from the store, they couldn't sell it because everybody already bought it from me. So
right. I see
it's the same game. You know, it's not drugs, but it's the same game. You find a plug.
It's the hustling game.
Yeah, you find a better product and you put it out to everybody else to buy. And now that's what people don't understand is there's hustles out there everywhere that can do this. It don't have to be drugs. There's people that's making millions.
They hustle different kinds of stuff. They hustle clothing.
Yeah.
Like they go to New York, buy the clothes, come here and sell it. It's all different types of ways to get a dollar. Come on.
Exactly. Now, you spoke earlier about getting it straight from the horse's mouth. We might have a chance to do that on the screen because you've got a movie in the works. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, is it done filming? Is it filming right now?
Well, see, the COVID thing, we had actually a deal a couple of years ago, but when the COVID thing came out, it set just like it set in Trump, everything back. So
yeah,
we getting back into actually gonna get it going. Actually in the next month or so, we gonna get back on top of it. But it's called Prince of the City to the Rise of a King.
Prince of the City to the Rise of a King.
To the Rise of a King.
Y'all gonna film that on location down there in Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait for that, man. I'm looking forward to it. And you've also, like we said earlier, you're dabbing into stuff now legal. Back then, when you was doing weed, it was illegal. Now you got your hands on some weed that is legal.
Right. I got a couple of partners named Mario, partner Nick out of, actually, he's got a grow facility that he's gonna be doing a lot of the strands that I'm putting down. Dallas, a guy named Dallas, he's out of Elkhart, Chicago, up in that area. He's out of Elkhart. He's actually doing the strings and the strands and stuff like that. So I'm putting the team is getting put together to get that going in the next couple of months. Matter of fact, we're gonna try to announce it sometime the end of this month about the 3 or 4 strands that we got coming out. As far as like I think it's Curry, Johnny Curry, Cashmere. Okay. Johnny Curry, Bellina. I throw the Bellina in there and a few other things. So we're trying to come out with that. So I got a good team strong behind me on that there. So
that's good, man.
It's called Dolphin. Matter of fact, it's called Dolphin's Greenhouse. His name is Nick.
Okay.
He's like it's a huge facility. Real nice. Like everything's already, they're just waiting on like actually the license and everything. Okay. Matter of fact, the inspection. And then we're gonna go, matter of fact, we're gonna try to plant our first plant. We already got some of the plants together, but to do our first soil, we're gonna kind of announce it the end of this month.
Okay, now what state is that in? Where's that facility?
It's in Detroit, actually in Detroit.
Okay, so right there in Detroit.
And then we'll branch it out eventually.
Right.
Actually, my brother Boo, actually, my young white boy Rick's friend Boo, he's really handling that, basically doing that.
Okay.
They're just basically using my name, Johnny Curry, basically my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it go.
Yeah, they need that clout, you know,
there you go. There you're gonna need that clout. So actually my brother Boo is gonna actually be handling that.
Okay.
So again, Kim Moore actually is running the movie thing. Kim Moore, you got another writer is and the director, they're gonna try to use this own thing. So Dante Jones, they're gonna try to use him as the director. He's a Grammy Award winner, is the director. And then you got Carl King is actually the writer. Okay. We talked to Kathy, we talked to me, and quite a few of the people that's in the thing. So they still kind of drawing it up and drawing it out. So it's gonna be a real good movie, The Truth. Actually, it's gonna be everything in there. It's almost 98% of the truth. Like this movie they made with him. I don't see one time. Only thing I seen in that movie was good part was the part about that he met his daddy to me. I was buying the guns from. Anything else, I didn't see it. About this, he flew to Vegas and this fight with Ed. Matter of fact, Big Ed. I suppose Ed hit him with a bottle.
Yeah.
Me and Big Ed family.
Well, that's something that you have control over because you're putting this thing together, so you can say what's going to go in it. and what can't.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
I don't know how much control Rick had over what was in it. I mean, I don't know if he got paid for it or what, being that he was behind bars. I mean, I'm sure he had some input, but if you're not out in the street and can keep your hands on it and your eyes on it, there's no telling what they can do. But in your case, that's not an issue. So you can be right there and you know.
Right there. There you go. I'm right there. Almost
Yeah.
like Jonathan Majors said. That's who played me. Jonathan Majors played Johnny Curry. I talked to him on the phone just the night they was going to shoot the movie out. And he said, Johnny, but it was all about the money. If they would have come to you, we might have hit a better story, a better movie, because it failed. It flopped.
Yeah. Well, I've had a great time, man. I hope you've had a good time as well. I appreciate you stopping by the show. And I want to tell you, man, I hope we wish you the best on everything that you're doing, your Cannabis Strange, your movie. Hell, if you need an extra, somebody in the background, holler at me. I'll make my way down there.
That's what Gunner said, too. If you need an extra in the background, holler at him.
Yeah, hell, he's a writer. He might write a little something. Well, yeah, I'll stand at a party or whatever you need me to do, I'll do, man.
I appreciate it.
But we're gonna get you one of these shirts, man. And so we in the line, like I said, I think we're gonna drop the merch line 1st of March. So I'll try to do it as quick as I can.
Gunner's line of clothes is nice too. His jacket, his sweatsuits are really nice.
Yeah, ourthingapparel.com is over there where you can get his stuff. He's actually got a sweatsuit coming to me, and I told him we're gonna do an interview. And he was like, when you want to do it? I said, well, I want to have your sweatsuit on when I do it.
You know what, though? And that's exactly what I told him. He asked me to wear his stuff. I said, because I guess it was a back order, like I'm saying on the front. He sent me the jacket and the shirt, but he said he was going to get it off to me because I would have wore it to now in the interview if he would have had me the pants, but I wanted to wear the whole suit.
Yeah.
So that's what I told him. Get my pants to me, and I'm gonna shoot him out there.
Yeah, but that's what's up, man. That's what I told him. I said, let me have the suit. I said, that way when we own, I can plug the suit. And
you're right. Just like you're doing that now. I like that. You're doing that now.
Yeah, I'm gonna help out everybody, man. I haven't done this for a long time. I'm new to it, but one thing I said when I started doing it, if somebody comes on my show to help me out, I'm gonna do whatever I can
to help them out.
Yeah, it's just, it's all part of the game.
That ain't nothing but respect. Okay.
Well, Johnny, we appreciate you stopping by the show, man. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get on out here. I know you're a busy fella. You got some stuff to do, but I want to appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping by, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. I'm gonna try to enjoy the rest of the Windy City down here in Chicago.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Johnny Curry. I am Hollywood Wade, and unfortunately, we are out of time. Tune in next week for an all-new episode of Crime and Entertainment. Johnny, we appreciate you, my friend.
Appreciate you too.